Hi, Larry Hurtado, Destroyer of the Gods. This is my take on this book. Hurtado is describing the particularly the first 3 centuries and the rise of Christianity, and he's pointing out how unique, how different this new movement is, even before it's called Christianity, before it's regarded as a religion. It's just the Jesus movement. And what he is describing in this book is how different, how unique, how even bizarre it was. Excuse me. The pagan world regarded this new movement, and it turns out, interestingly, that the unique features of this movement are what gave it its influence and its power throughout history. It's almost like the more unique a particular element was in this movement, the more power it had to transform the culture and the world around it. So, a lot of these uniquenesses he categorizes as a new kind of God, a new kind of identity for the believer, for the worshiper, a new way of transmitting the information about the religion. He calls it a bookish religion, and its influence over or its use of books, and also a new way to live. So these are primarily the categories for which make it unique. The one I want to drill down on is a new kind of God. The Christians had we have a God who is so unique in the first 3 centuries, so bizarre, so different than the multitude of gods and the various pantheons that the pagan worshippers had. The Christian God had very little in common with the pagan God, except for that they both occupied the invisible realm, the spiritual realm. Beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot in common. Now, the Christian God, monotheistic, meant he did not he demanded exclusive worship for him alone, at the expense of all others. He was a jealous God. Now the Jews were also monotheistic, but somehow they got wasn't regarded as strange. Apparently, they got a little bit of a pass for this because it was an older religion and because of their ethnic background. Somehow the Romans sort of dismissed it as just a quirk of the Hebrew culture, apparently. But now the Christians, this new Jesus movement, had a monotheistic movement, and well, that was just intolerable. It was the audacity to claim that you were in possession of the only true God. That must have created all kinds of friction, and that right from the start was the key criticism from the Roman culture. So to make that even more distinct, the Christian God they also regarded as transcendent, meaning out of touch. He was beyond the reach of a mere mortal. And now the Jews had some transcendent. I'm sorry, the pagans had transcendent gods too. Not very many, but they were aware of the concept at least. And a pagan would never would understand that he could never directly access their transcendent God. He was beyond the reach. If he wanted to influence the transcendent God, for example, he would have to go through a lesser God to reach the higher God. But now, the Christians not only had a monotheistic God, they had a transcendent God, but they also had a personal God. This must have just blown their minds. This transcendent, exclusive God was inclined to bring people into his relationship with him, like bringing them into his own family. So much so that he made the ultimate sacrifice of his only son, that to make a way for them to be redeemed and reconciled as individual people into the transcendent God's family. Okay, this must have just blown their minds. To quote Hurtado, he says there in chapter 2, how utterly strange, even ridiculous, this concept was in the Roman era. To have such a great God, and yet to be a God who condescends to the level of his people. Let me read you a couple of things. Now, here's and this is Hurtado quotes Paul out of this is Paul's take on the transcendence of God. He says, our God is one who dwells in unapproachable light. This is 1 Timothy 6. A God who dwells in unapproachable light. But at the same time, he's a God who spared not his own son, Romans 8, so that his people could be delivered to him. This must have been just a profound contradiction to the pagan world. How bizarre, how unusual, how strange, how dangerous this must have been. And yet it was these differences that became the impetus behind the movement, behind the rapid growth that allowed it to permeate all the way through the known world in such a short period of time. Now, a couple of quick things. If you go into this book, you have to understand what Hurtado's objective with this book, or you might be a little frustrated. He did not intend this to be a textbook. Okay, so I personally felt a little frustrated by the fact that he didn't go into a lot of detail, particularly with in the Hellenistic world. I mean, they had a lot of influence, a lot of friction with the growth of Christianity as well, but he didn't really go into it. His focus was on the Roman world, which I understand. He's a Roman historian. He's an excellent wealth of knowledge on the Roman Empire. I felt a little like it was a little out of balance if you were to go into it looking for all the unusual aspects of early Christianity. Nevertheless, great book. And you got to understand also, this is not a commentary. It pairs nicely with commentaries. It's not a book of sermons. It's not a book you can go to find, a lesson per se, a Sunday school lesson. It is a historical overview that highlights the differential between the growth of Christianity in all of its aspects, and how remarkably unique and different they were from the surrounding pagan culture. Now, the part that also I think he fails to highlight, probably because of the page count issues, is that the monotheism was not new to the New Testament. This goes all the way back to Moses and Abraham, and way back into the Old Testament. I know he knows that, but his emphasis is on the Christian God, as the Christians, as it developed in the Christian, and not so much in the Hebrew culture. So anyway, great book, highly recommended. I think it should be in the hands of every student of the New Testament. Okay, gotta run. Thanks for your time.